The Belhaven Brewery is one of the most historic breweries in the UK. The Scottish brewery makes a handful of beer styles, including the Black Scottish Stout. Made from all locally sourced Scottish malts and barley, is this stout worthy of your taste buds? Find out now on Two Dudes Reviews.
What up, guys? Yeah, today we've got the Belhaven Black Scottish Stout, and it is the drop, so get a nice little creaminess to it, which I'm looking forward to. And let's just get into the review. Gotta like that. I've never had this one before, but for some reason a stout sounded fantastic today, so I thought I'd get it. I don't know if it's blasphemy to pour it in a Guinness glass, but we'll find out. But sometimes just nothing beats a nice chilled stout. So we'll see how the Scottish Stout stacks up against the traditional Irish Stout. But as we give it a few minutes, I'm a fan of the other Belhaven beers. Belhaven has a Scottish ale that's also in this drop, nitro kind of thing. And it's one of the non-stout beers that I really, really like with the nitrogen infusion. I think they did it fantastically well, which is one big reason why I'm kind of looking forward to this, because if you can do a non-stout very well, I would assume that you could also do a regular stout. But alright, looks like we are ready to go, so let's get into the smell. You have that coffee aroma right off the bat. And you also have that kind of milk chocolate thing going on too, which smells deeper, like a little more bitter than maybe your Guinness might be. And again, the dog is always thirsty when I'm trying these beers. I don't know why. There's also almost like an oakiness to it, just subtle, like a subtle woodsiness aroma to it. But all in all, I enjoy how it's smelling, and so I'm gonna recommend it on the smell. And as you can tell, it is pretty black, a little darker than a lot of your standard ones. But all right, let's get to the taste. I like the nitrogen. You got the creaminess to it. Very, very. The coffee, the unsweetened coffee, is very prevalent. That's like a bitter coffee almost. It's if you like your coffee black and like brewed for longer, so it's a little more strong than maybe a normal cup of coffee. That's what this is got going on. It's very just outside of the kind of creaminess of the head, which almost gives it a sweetness texture to it. I guess it doesn't make it sweeter, but it almost makes you think there's a little sweetness to it. But this is a very bitter, not extremely bitter, but it's the very just straight black coffee kind of taste to it. And it definitely has the unsweetened chocolate to it as well. There is not a lot of sweetness to this, so it kind of sounds about right with the name of the beer. But so you got to kind of think of it. I'm going to say it's definitely a bit more bitter than your average Guinness. I think probably a Murphy's might be even sweeter than that, I think. But I like the taste. I think it's done well. Yeah, I think it's pretty good, but the taste is pretty straightforward. Just straight black coffee, unsweetened chocolate. That's basically what you got. So, all right, recommend on that. The next category is value for price. Now, this is more expensive than your Guinness, since that's kind of what Guinness is almost the comparison for most stouts, because that's what most people know. It is more expensive. I believe the single one cost almost $4, which even for a UK, Scottish, Irish import is a little more than normal. And I find that's kind of interesting, especially since, I mean, Belhaven, they get around. They have other Scottish beers that import, so I would have thought it would have been a little less. But then again, you are paying for the nitro kind of can system, so probably some of that money is going into the can. So maybe if you were to just get a straight bottle, it wouldn't be as expensive. I'd probably actually bet that a non-nitro bottle is going to be a little cheaper. But since it is more expensive than the stuff that you would compare it to, I mean, it's not drastically more expensive to the point where you'd be afraid to try it. But I'm going to give it a half on value for price, just because it is, if you compare everything, it's going to be a little more than average. So, all right, next is distinction. How distinct is it from other stouts? And that's kind of there isn't a lot of general distinction from stouts. They all share a very similar flavor palette. There might be a slight variety, a little less sweetness, a little more sweetness, maybe some oakiness, but they almost all have the coffee, dark chocolate thing going on. It's almost just how much more one has than the other. So distinction, it's kind of hard to do with a stout. There's nothing in it that's drastically different other than being a little less sweet. But, when I'm thinking about it, since there isn't a whole lot of variation from stout to stout, I am going to recommend it on distinction just because it is just less sweet from it. So yeah, I'll give the thumbs up for distinction. Now, next is drinkability, and I'm going to sip this on real quick. I could probably drink one, maybe a second, but that straight black, heavy black coffee taste, it's kind of, how many just straight black coffees, no cream, no sugar, no nothing, can you drink in a row? I feel like I could drink one, maybe two of these, but I think I can drink other stouts a little more if I wanted to do just a stout drinking day. So with this one, I think I'm going to give it a half, just because it's not something I could really do. They probably sell it in 4-packs. I don't think I'd clear the 4-pack at once. It's just too bitter coffee for me to do multiples. So lastly is, would I buy it again? Now, a stout's not usually something I just keep on shelf. Sometimes I'll have maybe one, because you just get in that, I want that iced coffee beer kind of thing going on. And so sometimes I guess I will have that. Default, I usually kind of go with the Young's Double Chocolate Stout. I really dig that in the can. So I'd buy it again, maybe just as a change of pace thing, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't be like my go-to stout. I think it'd be a couple stouts back. Even though I like that it's the drop, I like that it is a little less sweet, so you do have that change of pace from the other stuff. So I'm going to give it a half on this again. I'd do it. I have nothing against picking it up, but there's others that I definitely have a further ahead of that. So that is my review of Belhaven Black Scottish Stout. If you've had it before, let me know in the comments. If you have some other stouts you think I should check out, put that in the comments as well. And please like and subscribe. We have more videos coming up all the time. The top 10 videos are definitely by far the most popular, so check those out. And feel free to follow me on Twitter at Two Dudes Podcast, and I got links to the actual podcast and other things down there. So for now, for me and the Belhaven Black Scottish Stout, take it easy.